Ascension.
Is a term, according to Wikipedia, to describe the experience of entering heaven alive. Now, they also refer to this as assumption, or someone gets assumed, or also translation. So, what do they mean, this entering heaven alive? Well, it's been interpreted as the ascending of the physical body into the heavens or into the ethers. The physical body's here at one point, and then a moment later, it's not here. It's visible, and then it's not visible. Now, if you have a Christian background, you might say, yes, I understand that Jesus ascended. That's recorded in Acts 1, 9 through 14. It was 40 days after the resurrection, and he was still teaching. He was a teacher, of course. And verse 9 says, and when he had spoken these things, he ascended while they were looking at him. A cloud received him, and he was hidden from their sight. Well, that sounds pretty miraculous. I haven't been able to experience that in my lifetime. That kind of event, that kind of power, you might attribute it to someone who's a god, right? But he wasn't the only one. In Judaism, in the Hebrew Bible, there are two people who they record as having ascended. One of them is Enoch. In Genesis, it says, "And all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch found favor in the presence of God and disappeared, for God took him away." Just gone. And then the other one was Elijah. Now, Elijah, he was a prophet, and he had a prophet that was following him called Elisha. And on this particular day, people were coming to Elisha and saying, your master, Elijah, he's going to be leaving you today. And Elisha said, yes, I know, I know. And Elijah was telling Elisha, hey, go wait there for me. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. And Elisha kept saying, oh, no, I'm going to come with you. I'm going to be there with you. Um, and so it happens that they were at the Jordan River, and Elijah took his mantle and struck the water, and a path was made. They walked across the Jordan on dry land to the other side. And as they were walking and talking, it says, and it came to pass, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and separated the two. And Elijah went up in a whirlwind into heaven, and he saw him no more. Elijah just went up in a whirlwind, disappeared. Now, in Catholicism, it's believed that Mother Mary was assumed into heaven, and it's on also acceptable belief that Joseph and Moses and John the Apostle were assumed into heaven. Now, there are other religions that have histories of their ascension as well. In Hinduism, Yudhishthira and Lakshmana were believed to be able to cross the plane between the mortals and heaven, and there were two others that were admitted to heaven. And the Islamic faith believes and teaches that Muhammad was transported in his night journey and ascended into heaven alive. There he received instructions on prayer and other things, and then later he came back to earth. And then there are those who follow ascended master teachings who know that Francis Bacon ascended and became Saint Germain, and that there were others, many other masters that ascended as well. They're called the ascended masters. So it's happened. It's happened a fair number of times. And while these people, we have these examples of people ascending while still in their bodies, we might think, well, gosh, those all happened, years ago, some of them centuries ago. Well, does that mean it no longer happens? No, it does happen. It just might look different than these events have been interpreted to us to look. It may seem to look a different way. See, in New Thought, We don't believe that heaven is up there. We believe that heaven and hell are things we experience in this lifetime here. It's not a place that you go. And I will say I've experienced both of those here in the humanity that I'm in now. So, what might we be talking about when we're talking about ascension? If we don't believe that there's heaven is a place to go, well, we're talking about two primary areas. There's consciousness and there's energy, the physical workings of energy. So let's talk about consciousness first. Ascension in regards to consciousness is a raising of the consciousness to a higher level, to a higher and higher level, eventually, even to unitive consciousness. This ascension has been happening since the beginning of time. It can't help but happen. It's happening globally today. It happens every time that love enters where fear used to be. See, our consciousness must genuinely release the fears, not just sweep them under a rug and do a bunch of affirmations on top of it, but we really must clean them up and remove them. And this takes a lot of work. Well, it takes some work at least, because the mind is centered in fear and it is run by it. So in order to clean up this fear, we have to take responsibility in a different way for whatever's happening in our lives. Rather than pointing the finger at a person or the system or the government or a person in the government, we have to accept responsibility that this is in my life because there's something within me that wants to reveal in a more magnificent way. And it's in my life so that I can do that. See, when we do that, then we work to discover what it is that wants to reveal and release that which no longer serves, then our consciousness ascends. And we have a new belief, a new understanding in place of that old illusion that we were clinging to. For us to ascend, we need a permanent shift in the mind. It's not just about taking notes and memorizing information like we might have done in grade school. It's about embodying this message of love on many levels of our consciousness. Using the fear and coming back to the message of love again and again and again. That helps us embody that shift in consciousness. It's like what Ernest Holmes said in the reading. There is no joy which you cannot reach, provided you first clear your consciousness of anything which would limit this joy in yourself or others. So our consciousness must rise. The second element of ascension that we're going to talk about is that of energy, that of the physical. So we can experience ascension through the physical body, and this is through the vibration, the energetic vibration that we hold. Now, in quantum science, we come to know, and it's a fact, that everything is energy. Everything is based in energy. And we also know that God is all that there is. So this presence itself must be that energy. It's this consciousness, it's energy. And we know that energy vibrates. So and it's meant to flow. It's not meant to be stagnant. It's always flowing. Atoms and electrons and protons and photons, they're always in movement. Okay, it's meant to flow. Now, this rate of vibration just simply determines whether what you have, whether it's physical or non-physical. The physical body is at a slower vibration. Things that we see in the physical are at a slower vibration. They're more dense than the non-physical. So in order for ascension to take place with us in our bodies, we need to raise not only our consciousness, but the vibration that our body holds and is able to hold. See, if we don't raise our own vibration, then we won't be able to hold the higher vibration of our consciousness. So there are two things that we've got to do there. So what was really happening with all of those historical people who ascended was that their consciousness and their vibrational selves were high enough so that they could sustain the higher vibrations of the invisible realm. That's how they were able to ascend here one moment and not the next. It's not really not the next. It's here one moment and not visible the next because they went to a higher vibration, a higher realm. They could raise their consciousness and their vibration and their energy to that higher plane. Well, okay, so if that's the case, we know that ascension is very real. And it's something that we can practice. And now, this time on our planet is a very good time for us to be practicing. See, globally, our planet is in a phase of rising energy. Helen Knight says that the vibration on Earth is rising. We're being exposed to massive amounts of light and very high frequencies from many different avenues. Mother Earth, the ley lines, crystals, solar flares, planetary alignments, angels, spirit helpers, etc. It's really exciting, and yet the energies can be very intense, strong, and potent as our bodies are making the adjustments to this new frequency. The body's very dense, so we can feel all sorts of different symptoms due to the upgrading we're going through. Now, she lists 40 some odd symptoms. I'm just going to point out a few of them. Pardon me. Flu-like symptoms that come and go, changes in body temperature, either hot or cold, an upheaval in a sleep schedule, being clumsy, lack of focus, foggy head, extra sensitivity to sound, a sudden increase in revelations and ahas, or unfounded anxiety, feelings of oneness, sudden digestive issues, more intense dreams, aches and pains without explanation, an uptick in the amount of synchronicities that happen in your life, seeing the occasional hint of an aura around objects and people, an intuitive feeling that something's changed, changes in your eyesight, and a deep knowledge that you have a mission here on Earth. Like I said, these are just some of the symptoms that occur because our bodies need to upgrade their vibrations and adjust to the new energies that the Earth is undergoing. The question is, will we use this time to do practices that help us ascend, or will we just bear these symptoms in ignorance in a state of unawareness? Well, another question we have, and you might be asking, is hey, I thought this was about love. When is she going to talk about that? We're going to talk about it right now. Because when we think of ascension, we might ask, what has love got to do with it? And the answer is everything. Love has everything to do with it. See, the vibration of the entire universe is based on what we might call this greater love, this love that is the presence. You know, that God is all that there is. And this presence is fully made of this love that's that's more than what we can imagine, really. We get hints of it when we might feel a deep love for a person or an animal companion, or maybe when we see the sunlight shining in a particular way through the trees, or maybe look at the eyes of a child and they're looking back. I mean, there's certain times we may catch a glimpse of this greater love. Well, love has everything to do with ascension because the highest vibration we can reach on this planet is that of love. And so, if we want to raise our vibration, love is going to be instrumental to us doing that. See, love is the vibration. It heals all things. It burns so hot that nothing can stand in its way. It's the vibration that can withstand changes of all sorts. It's the vibration of spirit, of truth, of the soul. This is the vibration we want to hold in order to ascend. So I have some tools for us to help us feel that presence of love more greatly in our practices of ascension. And I do have an acronym today, and it is MSG. Now, we're not talking about the food additive that enhances the flavor and the savoriness. Instead, we're talking about tools that can enhance our energy and and intensify our vibration of love. MSG. The M stands for the mind. We want to love the mind. Now, the mind runs on fear. It's based in separation. It's always wanting to be right. When I notice the mind doing those things that it does, I have a tendency to want to criticize it and say, "Oh, there it goes again. Why can't it just let this thing alone? Or why does it want to do this thing that I know is not good for me? Or why is it repeating the same old fear-based things it said yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before?" Criticism, it comes to us because we want it to change, right? But the thing is that criticism does not help change the mind. It gets it more stuck in what it's doing. So instead, we want to love the mind. Love it. Love the one who's afraid. Love the one who gets stuck. Love the one who gets angry, who runs away, who can't get it together. See, we pull it in and say, "Oh, come on, dear. Come on. I know what you're trying to do. Thank you for being so observant." But we take its hand and say, "But come along. Let's look at this just for a little bit. We'll look at it this way." We love the mind. Then it can feel safe enough to release that hold it has on its own illusions. So the M is love the mind. The S in MSG stands for spirit. We want to feel ourselves, know ourselves as spirit. For in truth, that's what we are. We are that. And we want to be able to feel it, to experience it, this presence. And love is how we can do that by practicing the feeling of love over and over and over again. Practice it so much it becomes regular for us. See, in order to do that, we can just do a little practice right here. If you want to just close your eyes for a moment and feel love in your heart, that's where we can feel it most easily. Might help to bring something to mind that you love dearly, but feel that love in your heart. And now just expand it. Expand it down into your core so that you can actually feel love in your belly. Expand it up into your brain so that your brain can actually feel that love, that vibration. Love is a vibration. And now you can extend it out into your extremities, the arms and hands and legs and feet. So now everything is filled with love, vibrating at love, at the rate of love. And now go one step further. Go just beyond the body to the part of you that's just not physical, the part of you that's invisible, but still very much you, very much your energetic presence. And feel it all vibrating with love. And then take a deep breath in the belly. Bring it all in. And when you're ready, open your eyes. That was just a short, simple practice of feeling love all throughout the body. When we do that, we're feeling ourselves as spirit. Ernest Holmes, also in This Thing Called You, said, while it is true that no one has ever seen this soul, it is also true that no one has ever seen love, beauty, or intelligence. You have an invisible body right now. You are as immortal now as you will ever become, and you should begin to live like an immortal being, vibrating with that presence of love, knowing that we're immortal, that we are the eternal spirit of God. That's what we are. So the S in MSG is for spirit, feeling ourselves as spirit through the vibration of love. Now, the G in MSG stands for ground. We want to ground ourselves. We're, especially with all this ascension work that we're doing, there's a tendency to go up and out so that we're kind of in this sphere here. But we didn't come to Earth just to be consciousness walking around or to be this mental intelligence walking around. If that's what we came to do, we wouldn't need a body. But we came to fully inhabit the body with the vibrations of that immortal being, with the vibrations of love, with that higher vibration in the body. So we need to ground in order to do that. And there's several practices we can do. Earlier, Reverend Rainbow led us in a central channel breath, breathing up and down the body. That gets us centered in the body. If you do yoga, you may know the Mula Bandha, which is a lifting of the pelvic bowl. It's a little squeeze to help you get anchored in the body. Another practice you can do is as you're going through your day, you might have your focus out here, but also keep one eye on the inside. So it's like I'm looking at you, but I'm sensing what my body is doing. That's another way to be grounded in the body. Another way is simply to sense yourself, feel your essence going into the earth, perhaps even to the center of the earth, but feeling yourself fully rooted and grounded in the physical body as you're doing the ascension practices. So G stands for ground, ground in the body in love. So we've got MSG. The M is love the mind. S is spirit. Feel spirit in vibration of love in the body. And G is ground the body, also in love. Ascension, it's really all about clearing the way physically and in consciousness for us to rise in awareness, the knowing, in the visceral feeling of ourselves as the love that we truly are. So let's take this into spiritual mind treatment. As we take a deep breath in the belly, grounding ourselves. We settle in, realizing that we are that immortal life, that this one presence that is the presence of all that is what we are. And this presence is always evolving. It's always growing in a depth of understanding and in an aspirational way of ascending. This is its nature. And it is our nature. So I speak the word today that each and every one of us eliminates anything that would stand in the way of our rising in consciousness. That anything that is unlike this presence of love, that is greater then even what we know now, that anything that is unlike that can fall by the wayside into the nothingness from which it came. For there is only this presence of love. There is only this presence of light in the real with a capital R. I speak the word that each of us embody this presence to its fullness. That every single cell, action, organ, function of our body temple is enlivened with this presence that we know to be who we are. I'm so grateful for this awareness, to know that we're simply speaking the truth of each and every one of us. And so in great love and rejoicing, we release it and let it be. And so it is. Amen.